As President Biden faces the possibility of an impeachment inquiry, let's look back at the three presidents who have been impeached and why. Look at this. Back in 1868, Andrew Johnson was the first president to be impeached. Congress produced 11 articles of impeachment, charged him with violating the Tenure of Office Act. So it was the final straw was basically when he replaced the Secretary of War. His name was Edwin Stanton, who was appointed by Lincoln, and he was a Republican who favored the civil rights for freed African Americans. He also vetoed a lot of bills that he thought were too harsh on the South. But it turns out, years later, the Supreme Court determined that act was unconstitutional. So he should not have been impeached. The second one was Bill Clinton, as we all remember. 1998, 2 articles of impeachment were passed by the House, charged with lying under oath to a federal grand jury and obstructing justice. This all revolved around his relationship with Monica Lewinsky, and he was encouraging White House staffers to deny his affair. Then the third one, we all lived through this. This was President Donald Trump. He was impeached twice, first president to ever be impeached twice. The first one was 2019 for that phone call with Zelensky, and the last one was 2020, and that was the incitement for insurrection. Charges stemmed from the phone call with the president of Zelensky. That was the first one, and the second one was January 6th. All right, let's come over here because Newt Gingrich was involved in the impeachment of Bill Clinton. He was Speaker of the House at the time and joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Well, great to have you here. We're hearing McCarthy is now saying that there's possibility of an impeachment inquiry. Do you think this is a good idea?
Yeah, I think Speaker McCarthy has it about right. The next step is to learn a lot more. And if you have a impeachment inquiry, you have a much broader range of Congress insisting that people answer. We have really 2 parallel stories. One is the corruption of the Biden family. The other is the corruption of the Justice Department, which we just saw yesterday when Hunter Biden's secret deal collapsed in court. And I think having an impeachment inquiry, which may or may not lead to impeachment, but it's going to lead to a lot more evidence coming out. And the case against Joe Biden is going to get worse and worse. And frankly, the case against the Attorney General and the Justice Department is going to get worse and worse. So I think Speaker McCarthy is about right. Calm, measured, get the facts, do whatever you have to do to get those facts, and then see where it leads to. But don't leap ahead and assume you know more than you do.
If it does lead to an impeachment, what are the consequences?
Well, I think it's very hard to see the Senate ultimately convicting. As you've noted in the other 3 impeachment examples, the Senate ultimately stopped them. And I think for 2 reasons. One is the Senate still has a lot of Democrats. It takes a 2/3 majority to convict. And the other is the prospect that if you were to remove Joe Biden with all of his weaknesses, with the corruption, with the cognitive decline, you'd get Kamala Harris. And I think most Americans would agree that Kamala Harris is a much greater danger to the country as president than Joe Biden is. So I think the important thing here, though, is to get out in the open what the facts are. And frankly, the Republicans in the House have an opportunity to stop this whole thing by simply cutting off funding on September 30th for the Justice Department's various activities and insisting that all the records be turned over that relate to the Biden, and I think is ultimately going to go back and relate to the Clinton Foundation. These were 2 centers of corruption that people are going to be shocked at how much money was involved and how many foreigners were involved. These are both cases where foreigners were giving lots of money to U.S. government officials. We deserve to know the details. I mean, if you don't get it out in the open, you're never going to get it cleaned up.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for joining us.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.